For example, when you issue invoices towards foreign clients, in this case, you have to have a list of your foreign clients. Hello guys, welcome back to Esentaxa. I Partita here, and in this video, we are going to discuss about how much does it cost an accountant in Italy. The accountability with the VAT position open as a businessman, as a self-employed, as a freelancer. How much does it cost? The famous impotent regime and the forfeit regime, etc., etc. So we are going to explore more or less how much, generally speaking, we should expect from our accounting. If you're in this channel, Esentaxa talks about how to optimize your taxation if you relocate in a certain country. We are #1 channel on Italian tax optimization and tax plan and strategy in long term. We also cover jurisdictions such as Portugal, Belgium, Albania, and Republic of San Marino. And basically in Italy, we promote a lot certain kind of tax regimes that a lot of people are not aware of, which is the famous impotent regime, forfeit regime, and the high net worth individual tax regime when you are a new resident in Italy. Now, in this specific video, I want to see and understand if it's easy, if we can just write down a few bullet points and show you how you should understand the cost of an accounting in Italy. It's a very important topic because a lot of people, they misunderstand certain kind of informations. They come from a different country where the accountability, the perception of the accountability is different. The mindset of the tax system in that country is different from the Italian one, because nowadays we're going to talk about Italy, the accounting in Italy. So let's first start about the famous impotent regime. In this channel, we have extensively talked about the impotent regime. We discuss about how much taxes you spare thanks to this tax regime, but let's see how much does it cost, how much you spend in accountability, which is also an important part of your money that are going out of your pocket. So #1 is cost of accounting in Italy under impotent regime. Okay, first of all, we have to understand that when we apply for this regime, we are self-employed or freelancer. This means that we have to open a VAT position. A VAT number should be assigned to our business from the Italian tax agency, and to run this business, to run this VAT number, we need to account the VAT on a quarterly basis. We need to account all our costs, our invoices, because we issue invoices, and basically we need an ordinary accountability, okay? So an ordinary accountability that basically requires certain kind of bureaucracy behind, which is basically transparent for you, because it's the accountant that has a certain number of softwares to provide accountability, but also fulfill certain requirements, to fill certain forms on certain span of time, some quarterly for the accountability of the VAT, some other document. For example, when you issue invoices towards foreign clients, in this case, you have to have a list of your foreign clients. So there are kind of bureaucracy steps that makes actually the Italian business a little bit complex, but it's not your job, it's the job of an accountant to do so. So he knows exactly what to do. That's the reason why it's very, we do not recommend to account everything by yourself, especially if you're coming from another country and you have a different mindset. Maybe in your country of origin, it's very easy to account your business by yourself. You spare a lot of money, that's good. But in Italy, no, you have to always have an accountant behind you that helps with these kind of things. He knows all the deadlines for tax payment deadlines. He knows whenever the government publish new deadlines or new tax regime or change of certain percentages of taxes, of social security, etc. But he knows a lot of deadlines in terms of paper to be sent towards the Italian tax agency. And everything here is done under the ordinary accountability. And the impotent regime is in the ordinary accountability, okay? So how much cost all this package? The cost could be between 1,700 euro to 2,000 euro, more or less, per year. This is more or less what you should expect from an accountability with ordinary accounting under the impotent regime. All right. So keep in mind that this cost is deductible. When you apply the famous impotent regime and you have the famous, for example, 90% deduction of your income, This deduction is calculated after, so it means that you first calculate your profit, so you deduct all your cost, and the accountability here is a cost that you can deduct against your revenue, and then what remains is your profit. And 90% of your profit is tax-free, and then you start to tax only 10% of your profit. So you see, the good thing is that you can deduct the accountability as a normal or ordinary cost. These kind of numbers are general, might vary based on where you're looking for your accountant, based on geographic area of Italy, based on the reputation of your accountant, and based on how much services the accountant gives you alongside with the basic accountability. Because, okay, it gives you the basic accountability, but what if you have another business aside? What if you have another business abroad? And so the Italian accountant has to know all those business, all those type of incomes coming from abroad, and combine them together in one single tax file return at the end of the year, alongside with your accountability. So you see, these numbers are just what you should expect with the basic accountability. If you find some accountants in Italy that ask you less, be careful, because they might not ask you all your foreign income, they might not account all your foreign income, or combine your foreign income for your foreign business with your Italian business. So it's very important, and it might be quite a risk, because you might end up evading some taxes if you don't declare everything, or if you don't declare correctly everything coming from abroad with what you produce in Italian territory. So it's not easy to find an Italian accountant that knows both external incomes, type of incomes, to be combined with ordinary Italian accounting, and it's also specialized on the impatriate regime. So those are basic prices, but only for the accountability for the impatriate regime, without any other elements beside. Second point, how much the cost of the forfeit regime. This is a scheme, a tax regime that allows you to pay 5% taxes in the first 5 years and 15% after 5 years, okay? So we have these two flat taxes. Now, the forfeit regime, you open a VAT position also here, but the good things of this regime is that you don't add the VAT at the top of your invoices, at the invoices that you are issuing towards your client. So you spare all the VAT accountability, but also you spare the ordinary accountability, so the famous differences between your revenue minus your costs in order to have your profit. So you don't have these kind of things in a forfeit regime in Italy, because the costs are basically given by the state based on your type of activity. So you have a sort of forfeit cost to be deducted, regardless if you really pay for those costs or not, and then you have your profit, which is basically a percentage of your revenue, right? And then you pay 5% taxes on this. Now, the forfeit regime, because of this, it's way less expensive than the ordinary regime, because it doesn't have a lot of things to do. It doesn't have also all the kind of papers, the hidden bureaucracy behind the ordinary regime that I was talking before. So the accountant really do not need to do a lot of stuff. So the cost for the forfeit regime might span between 400 euro to up to 700 euro, okay? Only for run the business under this regime. Without anything else, without keeping to account all the rest of the element coming from abroad, complex situations, or other business in parallel, etc., etc. This is let's say, a reasonable interval. You cannot deduct this cost under the forfeit regime because you have a forfeit cost, and everything below this interval might be a scam. Everything above, only for the accountability, may be a little bit too expensive, okay? So just to give you an idea, in Italy, how much does it cost? Another point that I want to mention here, which is very important, so we just explored the cost of the two famous regimes. Of course, if you're an employee, you don't need to have an accountant that on quarterly or monthly basis run your business. If you're just an employee, even under the impatriate regime, you have once per year the Italian tax file return to be done, okay? And this might cost between 100 150 euro based on the complexity. So let's move straight to the third point. So basically, your accountant, does it help you with tax audit? This is a very important point. So whenever you agree to work with a certain accountant in Italy, because you found it online, for example, is it a person that also ensures you an assistance and help whenever you receive a tax audit from an Italian tax agency? So this is a big question, because you might receive an audit from the Italian tax agency. Of course, this kind of audit will be sent to your address. Normally, you need a help to understand if the papers that you are receiving are just an ordinary tax audit, documental check, or just amount of money that you are requested to pay and you don't even know why. And then you have to contest this tax audit, and then you need somebody that supports you, let's say a fiscal lawyer. So is your accountant a fiscal lawyer? Is your accountant willing to help you on that, or is going to ask you a separate rate for this kind of help? So this is one of the questions that you always have to mention at the beginning of your relationship with your Italian accountant, so you know in advance how much it really costs you. It can be the rates that I have said before. That includes also the assistance in case of tax audit, or you might pay an extra because he needs to spend some time extra to follow your papers and helps you to fix certain situations. Can be a contest in court, or can be even a simple documental check, which is a bunch of paper that the Italian tax agency wants to have just because he wants to be sure that you're really eligible for the impotent regime, for example, or you're really eligible for the forfeit regime, or you're a really high net worth individual, etc., etc. And now let's move to the fourth point. Your accountant is also a tax strategist. So basically, whenever you go to an accountant in Italy, whenever you find somebody, most of the time, the accountant gives you for free the first consultancy. The first consultancy, it's like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and they give you for free this kind of conversation that basically convince you to use their services. But in this conversation, it looks like they are tax advisors, but in reality, they just want to acquire a new client. The problem of this free tax consultancy is that you might get convinced by this accountant, you will start a relationship with him, you start accounting with him, but in reality, he never applied any tax strategy. He doesn't really want to spend time to help you to optimize your taxation. The tax strategy, it's completely a different story. What happens before starting the accountability? It's basically what you should plan in long term. It's basically how do you spare taxes in a span of 5-10 years when you relocate in a certain country. Does it provide tax simulations? So in order to know in advance how much taxes you're going to pay in the following year, and there is a way to optimize the taxes, there's a way to change your structure to pay less tax possible. So those are the questions that you normally should do. You should ask to your accountant in advance in the beginning, because a lot of accountants, they basically execute what they have. So they just want to fill up the form with some numbers, but they don't want to spend time, or maybe because they don't know how to do it, in a tax strategy before apply the accounting. It's very important at this point, because everybody makes this big mistake. When you relocate a new country, the first thing that you have to keep in mind is that the tax system is different. It's different from your country of origin. The second thing that you have to have in mind is that the accountant in Italy, in most of the cases, they just execute what you're supposed to tell them. They don't want to act proactively and start to ask you some questions in order to help you with a tax strategy. They don't do this. It's you that you have to find by yourself a way to planify a tax strategy, and when the tax strategy is ready, you go to an Italian accountant and basically you ask him what supposed to do. And he just needs to fill up the forms and follow the classical bureaucratic steps to provide the accountability, the ordinary accountability. In Esentaxa, here, we do exactly this point. We are at this level, and we also provide accountability with our accountant partner. So, before I had to move to our accountants, what we do here, or how we help our client, in exactly this point. So, we help to understand what is the tax strategy, the best tax strategy, also the best tax strategy in terms of jurisdictions. We have a lot of clients that basically they don't know which jurisdiction to choose because they just want to pay less taxes regardless where. Or some clients, they want to move in Italy for a specific reason and they want to find a way to pay less tax possible, but they want to know in advance to see if the step forward, if the big step to be relocated in another country makes sense or is too expensive, also in terms of taxes. Everything can be done through a tax strategy, through tax simulation. Now, we help our client in two ways. through online courses, so in order to understand if you can pay less tax possible in Italy, and you can learn everything about the Italian tax system, and you will see our link to the online course in the description below this video. But also we help clients to understand if they are eligible with the impatriate regime, okay? We also have provided an online eligibility test. In the description below the video you will find our link. And if you want to know more about Esentaxa and the way we work, you will find our email contact info@esentaxa.com, or alternatively you can contact us and have a tax consultation of 15 minutes only, in which you can have a quick question to ask, or a full 1 hour call with a tax simulation, in which we can deeply understand your problem and plan along a tax strategy before your relocation to Italy. Everything written in our website www.esentaxa.com. And that's it for today. I hope I gave you some more information about the cost of accountability in Italy and what things to keep in mind, and see you to the next content. Thank you, bye bye.